We've had some nice low humidity, cool days here, relatively speaking, relative to June, but things are about to change. You live down here any amount of time, you're well aware that summer, it is a long stretch of muggy conditions and warm afternoons, muggy nights, and humidity levels rise this weekend. We'll have spotty weekend showers and storms, nothing too widespread. Our best coverage looks to be on Sunday, and a ridge develops next week. We'll talk about what that does for our temperatures. So, right into the forecast we go. Take a look at the upper air look. It's a good idea to look big picture and then zoom down in. All right. So, for you weather nerds out there, we are looking at the 500 millibar level. All right. This is where you'll find the jet stream. This is where you'll find your features like upper lows, upper highs, and kind of the steering winds for synoptic weather systems here. So, Saturday into Sunday, a little short wave low is going to be moving through the middle of the country. Now, note the track of that. But also notice the position of that and that high in the Gulf or over the North Florida Peninsula. Sandwiched in between there, there's going to be a streamline of moisture and maybe enough of a spin up in the atmosphere to give us some decent coverage on Sunday. Again, the best coverage is going to be across the Missouri and Ohio Valley area, but I do think that's where the source of our rain and storms will come from on Sunday. Monday, this feature moves almost due north, so we won't have as much lift from that. This high begins to fade, and so does the shortwave as it moves out and fizzles over the mid Atlantic coast. So then we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and yeah, the jet stream this time of year really retreats. But in this particular setup here, we still have some decent troughing, some cool air over the Mountain West. And man, it's warm up into Canada, all the way up to the Hudson Bay area, well north of the Great Lakes. So some pretty warm air. And then you've got kind of this blocking pattern. You see that trough over the North Atlantic? All right, this is an omega blocking scenario. So as long as this stays in place, here's what we got: big ridge, warm temperatures, spotty rain chances, and nothing's able to progress really to the east with that upper low, that deep trough there in the North Atlantic. So, it's a pattern we see from time to time, and it can have a big influence on weather patterns. In this particular instance, it's going to allow this upper high to build, this ridge to solidify, and for us to have some pretty warm temperatures next week. All right, rain chances will begin on Saturday. This is a look at basically probabilistic areas, coverage, if you will. And certainly Southwest Alabama looks to be the prime spot on Saturday. I think much of central and eastern Alabama is dry. Sunday, your coverage right up to the Mississippi state line. And really, I-65 might denote the difference between, decent rain coverage chances and then much lesser on the far eastern side of the state. The Wiregrass looks pretty dry through Sunday. Into Monday we go. You notice the shoals, extreme northern Alabama. That is that little shortwave low I showed you that's moving across the Ohio Valley. By that point, again, the closer you are to that low, that spinning feature, the better uplift in the afternoon to get those convective thunderstorms. But again, it will not be a washout. These are hit and miss storms, but the best concentration is likely to the north. And then you'll start to see these lighter shades Tuesday onward, as these will basically be your popcorn, very isolated thunderstorms. And the story for the day will be a mostly sunny to partly cloudy afternoon, warm near 90 with spotty rain chances. And again, tough to quantify any rain over a stretch like this, but it kind of mirrors those rain chances, the highest being north of the Tennessee River, spotty in areas to the south, and very minimal as you get into southeastern Alabama. But we've had a lot of rain recently, so we can handle, several days of spotty rain. On to modeling now. This is Saturday, and this is a high resolution model, and you're going to see it really placing the majority of that rain from Jackson over to Hattiesburg, even Meridian south to Biloxi. And some of this may creep into West Alabama late Saturday. I don't think there's going to be much oomph left to them. But again, something we'll watch into Saturday evening and overnight. Sunday, it's interesting because we have that extra upper feature. You don't necessarily need the daytime heating for there to be rain and thunderstorms. And we could perhaps see some early in the day showers in places like, Lamar County, Hamilton, Vernon, Carrollton, down to Livingston, York, Utah, maybe even over to Fayette, and then these gradually shifting off to the east throughout the day. So if in this particular solution, the rain looks kind of top heavy the early part of the day, and we'll have to wait and see. Once these form, we can tell a lot about the rest of the day. This modeling kind of hinting at timing here, so we'll wait and see. Auburn looks pretty good on Sunday. Should they have to play a game 3, Tuscaloosa for game 2, that could be an issue. the super regionals there. Sunday night, things fizzle out. And once again, we are looking at, partly mostly cloudy skies into Monday morning. And you'll notice throughout the day on Monday, the big concentration of rain and storms, North Mississippi, North Alabama, across the Tennessee and Ohio Valley region. And it's certainly possible for us to get rain really anywhere in the state. It's the summertime, but the best forcing will be in that part of Alabama. So, with that in mind, our high temperatures, yeah, Saturday, there's going to be some 90s, I think, on the map. And it'll be the warmest day we've had really since last weekend. Remember, we had a couple days. See, I had 91 both Sunday and Monday for high temperatures. We were even warmer than that in a few spots in central Alabama. That was just at the airport at Birmingham. Sunday, a bit cooler. That is a result of the rain. These temperatures will reflect the rain probabilities. So low to mid 80s for central Alabama. Areas omitted from the rain. Wiregrass, a bit warmer. Into Monday we go. We will see the potential for isolated showers, perhaps a thunderstorm. Temperatures, again, indicative or tied to those rain chances. By Tuesday, temperatures start to go up, rain chances go down. You can see about 20% that day. And then by Wednesday, I think these temperatures being underdone by the NBM, but we'll be approaching 90 on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. And look at the CPC outlook trending just at or a little bit above average through the middle of June. And again, nothing too eye-opening there. So June, we are in tropical season. Look at the tropical satellite here. You can actually see the upper trough beginning to form by that really sharp cutoff there, that boundary just to the east of the Gulf Stream. Not that it matters at all, but if anything were to form, it's features like that that just kill the tropics. This is very early in the season, so not anything going on. However, we had our first named storm in the Eastern Pacific, I guess Central Pacific now. Amanda is a tropical storm moving away into the middle of nowhere, and 2 areas to watch for development there. And again, these all moving out in a westerly motion away from Mexican coastline. However, there will be some choppy conditions there, and I don't expect any of this to curve back up towards the Yucatan. But these are warm sea surface temperatures this time of year, and given our overall pattern that we are in right now, we have cooler, relatively cooler sea surface temperatures in the far western Pacific, kind of a swing towards that El Nino, but pretty common to see these development regions there. So I don't take a lot away from these outlooks. Honestly, I just thought I'd show this in case you missed it. They're basically saying it's going to be an average season. I don't buy into these because there's so many factors we don't know. Where are the steering winds going to set up? Where's the Bermuda High? What does the Saharan air layer look like? There's just really no way of telling. We can look at we're shifting towards an El Nino, which typically is a quieter tropical season, but that's the numbers there. So our activity for the Atlantic Basin, here's where we are, a little roadmap here. We got a long way to go. All right. So it's not uncommon to have, or unheard of, to have storms this early in the season. Most notably, was it Bertha? Category 5, released Category 5. That was, kind of an anomaly, but I see no signs of anything crazy popping off in the tropics. But to give you an idea, we are in tropical season, so we will be talking about that really from here on out, at least in updates to some capacity moving forward. That's your forecast discussion as we head into the Alabama weekend. Y'all be safe. Have a good time if you're going to any regional or super regional action. We've got 3 Alabama teams: Troy, Auburn, Tuscaloosa, all hosting. Good stuff. So again, have a great weekend. See you next time.